This week on the Analog Circle podcast, Nintendo's June Direct could be canceled. Microsoft announces that they will be showing off next generation third-party games for Xbox Series X. Ubisoft officially announces Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Could Sony be having a PlayStation 5 reveal event in May? And Geoff Keighley announces Summer Game Fest. All of these stories and quite a few more, my friends, in episode 126. I am your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and I want to say thank you guys once again for tuning in to the Analog Circle podcast. Now, I want to let you guys know that if you want to find the show on various different platforms, you can find it over on SoundCloud. You can find it over on Apple Podcasts. You can find it on, where else, man? I don't even know where else. Just type in the Analog Circle podcast into your Googles. It's going to pop up, take you to where you need to go, and enjoy yourself. Now, guys, y'all know last week, I didn't really have a lot of time to sit down and really talk to you guys. Really felt bad about it. I kind of had to speed through. Wasn't something I wanted to do, but I had to go up to Massachusetts. Had to make the money, brothers. Yeah. Had to get out on the road. But outside of that, though, I wanted to just apologize again for that. But I want to let you guys know, you probably do know, we did get a blast from the past this week that has been, I guess, has a new coat of paint on it, as it were. Streets of Rage 4 released this week, and man, it's been getting some really good reviews. So what I want to do for you guys, I've given away a PlayStation card. I've given away an Xbox card. I think it is only right that I give away a Nintendo eShop card. Now, this is for $20. For anybody that wants to get Streets of Rage, it'll at least help you purchase a little bit. So without further ado, go ahead and get your number 2 pencils, get your crayons out, even get your neon markers out if you can even read that, and get ready to write down this code, brothers and sisters. So the code is B14J4HY0DXJ2X30. Write that down. If you want to let me know that you won, you can always email the show at the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com, or you can call in at 443-216-9934 and tell me that you got the code. Or if you don't want to write in, just say bump it, man. I just want to download the game. That's fine with me. It is just a small token of me saying thank you guys for tuning in, supporting me, listening to the show, giving me feedback. It's always appreciated, and that's just me saying thank you. So without further ado, guys, I want to go ahead and get into my favorite. That's right, I say it all the time because I truly mean it. It is my favorite section of the podcast, and it is the feedback section. Now, I want to get things started with a new listener whose name is Trophy, and he's from North Carolina. Now, the title of his email actually is New Listener. He says, wow, not even 100% sure how I haven't heard of your show before now. I'm kicking myself now, though. Oh, man, don't kick yourself, brother. He says, truly blown away with the top-notch job you're doing here. Love the energy. Keep it up. I appreciate those words, brother. He says, thought I would ask where you stand on the next system's launch. If you had to get just one, and what you want to see announcement-wise for games. Personally, I'm locked on the Xbox, waiting for a Ninja Gaiden. Thanks again. Hey, Trophy, I want to say, brother, this was, like I said, very kind words. I greatly appreciate them. They mean a lot to me. And I just want to get into your email here. Now, Ninja Gaiden, that would be amazing. Years ago, Microsoft did have the marketing rights. Not the marketing rights. They had it exclusive on the platform, on the original Xbox. That'd be amazing, especially with games like Bloodborne and those hard games that people love that I can't stand them, Trophy. I don't like them, but that would be a great game to see come back. But for me, as far as you know, cause man, you put me in a tight spot here, Trophy. You did, man. But if I had to go with one console, cause man, you backed me into a corner here, brother, I would have to say the PlayStation 5 if I could only get one, because of Sony's track record. I mean, they have done an incredible job this generation. Games like God of War, Ratchet and Clank, Horizon Zero Dawn, Until Dawn. I mean, they just have an amazing track record. Last of Us Part 2, they have come out with AAA after AAA after AAA, even new IPs they have announced this generation. Not announced, but actually brought out. That have been great. So because of that track record, I would have to go with PlayStation 5. And I am a Xbox fan to the core. It is my preferred platform. But I'm a gamer first, brother. And because of that, I gotta give the nod to the PlayStation 5. Now, as far as game announcements, I just want to see great story-driven experiences that bring, new innovation to gaming, like being able to go into, I know this sounds crazy, but being able to go into every building or using the controller more to immerse yourself into the experience, like they were talking about with the haptic feedback with the PlayStation 5, actually feeling the triggers, if it works out the way that I have it in my mind, being able to pull back on the trigger, like to pull your bow back and actually feel the tension and the triggers as you do it. That would be marvelous, man. I mean, we gotta get past the Rumble. Rumble dates all the way back to the N64, which was a mind blow at the time. If you're from my age group, I'm 41, brother. I'm getting up there. When we first experienced haptic feedback, well, it wasn't even haptic feedback. It was just Rumble technology. Oh my goodness, playing Star Fox 64. I was in a Blockbuster, brother, playing doggone Star Fox 64 and was blown. I said, this is what I want for Christmas. This is what I need. I need this right here. So I want to see that kind of innovation, something that makes us say, wow, we have truly arrived at the next generation of gaming. But I just want to say once again, Trophy, thank you again for this wonderful email. Truly appreciate it, brother. And don't let it be your last time writing in. Thank you so much, man. Now I want to go ahead and move into the voicemail. Now this week's voicemail is by no other than Mr. Vaughn. And at this time, I want to go ahead and pass the microphone over to you, brother. Take it away.
What's going on, Kiaun? Checking in once again this week. Wanted to jump on that question that you had last week real quick. The Lockhart, I agree, is not necessary for Microsoft to bring it out. I think it's redundant. And I thought about this too. If the rumors are true that they're going to take a loss on the Xbox Series X, imagine how much of a loss they're going to have to take on the Lockhart to price that out to get people to buy that thing. So they're going to take a major hit on that, I believe, if it's coming out at all. And then my question this week, I'm sitting here watching some movies, trying to catch up on some movies that I've been waiting to jump on, got a backlog of movies. One of them was Mortal Kombat. That's my thing. Mortal Kombat Legends, I got that on digital. It's also coming out on Blu-ray. Nice movie, dope if you're into the fighting games. That's coming out on Tuesday physical, and I also picked it up. But I was looking at my list of Blu-rays, particularly the ones that deal with gaming, and looking at movies like Ready Player One, Wreck-It Ralph, Wreck-It Ralph 2, Pixel, things like that, and I haven't seen the Sonic movie yet, but something dawned on me. These movies are not really considered, to me, in my opinion, video game movies. They are movies that have video game characters in them, but I notice people classify them as video game movies. So what do you think? Are they considered video game movies? What do you consider a video game movie? And the part two of that question is, what would you like to see be the next video game movie or character in a movie? All right, that's it for me this week. It's your boy Vaughn. I'm out. Peace.
My man Vaughn, shout out to you, brother. Always dropping those voicemails. It's appreciated. I thank you so much for them, brother. It's great to hear from you. Now, I like I said last week, the week before, I don't want the Lockhart to be real. And it seems like we're both on the same wavelength, Vaughn. You know, it would be interesting. Very good point you brought up too. It would be interesting to see if they would take a loss on Lockhart, because everybody believes that it's going to be at that $300 point. Now, I have to believe to a certain extent though, Vaughn, now that I'm thinking about it, they may not take a big loss, or they may not care to take the loss, because we know that on the Xbox One X, they have to be taking some kind of loss. That console came out 2 years ago. They're selling it for $300. I think that Phil, what he said as far as they want to concentrate on the services and not so much how much they make off of the console, maybe that's where their focus goes. But for me, yeah, Lockhart, I think it's not necessary. It's something that we don't need. But you also mentioned something that was very interesting as well, Vaughn, where you were talking about the definition of a video game movie. That's a very good question, because you were mentioning Pixels, Wreck-It Ralph, and how you don't see them as video game movies, and I 100% agree with you on that. For me, my definition of a video game movie is when, I guess, the movie tells the story of a specific character, like they did in Sonic, just like Sonic, which actually looks pretty dope, by the way. I can't front. The way they went back to the storyboard, made Sonic look like actual video game Sonic. It looks great. So for me, I'm with you on that. The other kinds of movies, I don't think that they're video game movies. They may be loosely based, but I'll say this though, Vaughn, man, for people that are old enough to remember this, do you guys remember? I mean, this joint was crazy, this movie. The Wizard. The Wizard is like the OG, if you had to call it that, of video game movies. Now, granted, Vaughn, this is where your logic, to me, it does make sense. Would that be considered a video game movie? I would say no. It's loose. It has some loosely based ties to video games, but it's not I wouldn't consider that a video game movie. But man, at the time, back in the early 90s, when 11, 12-year-old Kiaun saw that movie with Fred Savage, I mean, granted, I was a fan of the Wonder Years. I enjoyed it. But when they said that Super Mario Brothers 3 was going to be the game shown at the Wizard, I said, man, this is it. I mean, Nintendo, they must have had a heck of a deal, because, man, there was a whole lot of lying going on in that movie about the Power Glove, the dude that was supposed to be so good, and he's up there using the Power Glove, acting like he's actually steering the car, knowing he lying to us as kids up there. The Power Glove is so amazing. Look how it moves. I'm like, man, looking back at that, I'm like, man, this Joker was straight capping on us. He was lying to all of us. But outside of that, Vaughn, getting back to your point, brother, because you know me, I'll drive off the doggone cliff. Skirt! I'm up here always talking about crazy stuff. But I have to say, yeah, man, that's what I would consider a video game movie. You're actually telling the story of an actual character that, you're talking about the background, all of that stuff. But the other thing, you asked was, what movie would I like to see? Me personally, Vaughn, man, brother. Nah, man, I'm good. I'm not really a fan of the video game movies. I'm not, to me, I feel like I'm playing the game, especially now, today. It's like, man, we're actually playing movies. Uncharted 4, when you're in Africa or whatever continent that was, game looks amazing, man. You in the Jeep? I mean, good gosh. I mean, the writing is so much better. The voice acting, my gosh. You want to talk about some bad voice acting? You go back into the 90s and you listen to Resident Evil, the original doggone Resident Evil. Where's Wesker? Anyway, yeah, Vaughn, I'm not really a fan of it, but I definitely don't knock those that are. Man, brother, I truly appreciate this voicemail. It was fantastic. It took me back to the Wizard, brother. God dang. But, thank you, Vaughn. You're always writing in. It's always great to hear your thoughts, your opinions, man. And that Mortal Kombat, that, animated movie, it does look very interesting. It looks like it could be fire, man. But thanks again, brother, and please don't let it be your last time not writing. I say this every time, but how many times you send me voicemails, brother? It always mess that up. But I appreciate you sending the voicemails, brother. Thank you. So now we got another email from Mr. Subset Tekken. I want to go ahead and read this off. He says, now the title of his email is In a World of Daredevil. He says, hello, Kiaun. What's going on? It's been a while since I have written in. I've been catching up with your previous episodes, and you mentioned if Daredevil ever had a game, and the answer is yes. Back when the Daredevil movie came out, Nintendo released the Daredevil game on the Game Boy. I had it, played it, but never finished it. I'm not a real big Nintendo fan, but it was a decent game for its time. I also would like to just give you a great shout out. You have been doing a terrific job on your podcast with letting us know about everything in the gaming world. Keep up the good work. Don't ever stop. And who says you have to limit yourself to an hour? Man, this is really dope. Hey, One Subset Tekken. Thank you so much, man, for the very kind words and the encouragement. I truly appreciate that, brother. It really means a lot. But getting to your email, man. God, dog, brother, you went into the vault for that one, didn't you, brother? My brother had to go years back. I had no idea that a Daredevil game even existed. My man said it was back on the Game Boy. Shout out to you. Good gosh. And he said it wasn't a bad game. So who knows, maybe a Daredevil game could actually work. I mean, I'm not really big into the character. I just know he got 2 D's on the front of his costume, and he got a red mask or whatever. I mean, he looks like a dope character, I ain't gonna lie, but I just don't know what he does. I think he has a pole for a weapon, and I do know that he's blind, and I mean, he be really wrecking shop too. That Joker can fight. But outside of that, I have no idea. So for me, it would be great to have a Daredevil game to actually show his character off, kind of like in the vein of Batman, maybe dark. I mean, who knows? I'm hoping that rumor is true, especially with the Wolverine game. Those two, man, it would be amazing. But we will definitely see. But once again, One Subset Tekken, brother, it's great to hear from you, man. It has been quite a while, man. And definitely don't stay away for too long before you write on back in, brother. Thanks again, man. Really appreciate it. Now we have another, let me see, we got, I believe, no, we got two more emails. Now this one comes from my man, my dude, Mr. Free Fly Ferret Fly Brother Fly. Now the title of his email is Connected. He says, my brother. That's his stamp right there. I like that, man. He always starts it out with my brother. Shout out to you, man. He says, just a public service announcement to let other listeners know that if you have an Oculus Quest, you can now hook it up to your PC and play the higher end VR games like Half-Life. Hope all is well with you. Free Fly Ferret. Man, who the heck knew that was a thing? Man, thank you for this, brother. I didn't read this anywhere. Matter of fact, I want to ask you personally, Free Fly Ferret. Now, you have the Oculus Quest. I want to know, how good is it? I've heard great things about it, but if you could just go into a little detail just to let me know, is it worth the price of entry? Just let me know how you feel about it. And if I could add one more question to that, Free Fly Ferret, I would ask you, is it better than the PlayStation VR? Now, I know some people out there are going to say, come on, Kiaun, that ain't even a fair question. PlayStation VR was out years ago before the Oculus Quest. You know the technology is better, but I still want to know. I just want to know. That's all. But Free Fly Ferret, thanks again, brother, for this email. Keep them coming. I always enjoy reading your thoughts, man. Truly means a lot. Now, let's go ahead. I think we got one last one here. Yes, indeed. From my dude, John. Last but absolutely not least. Now, I want to go ahead and read the title of Mr. John's email. He says, why we can't find a Switch anywhere. He said, sup, Corked Emperor, what's going on, John? He says, I'm with you. Boo, Lockhart. I believe if Microsoft would have used a better CPU that wasn't based on the old Jaguar system on the Xbox One X, the Lockhart wouldn't need to exist. The Xbox One X would have turned into the new budget system and they could phase out the rest. This would have made my Xbox One X a better investment. But now I have only 2 more years. And a few months before I decide to upgrade to the Series X. By then, I may even get the Series X on sale. LOL. On another note, have you heard of the Bird Bot? I have not heard of the Bird Bot, brother. What is that? He says the Bird Bot is the reason why many people can't find a Nintendo Switch. It's a program that allows hoarders to buy up all the Nintendo Switches before regular people like me can. And it was created by a 16-year-old boy. Get the heck out of here. That joke is a genius. He continues to say at this moment, lots of people are mad at him, but he's just a kid. People should relax and be amazed at this kid's ability. Who knows? Maybe he can create Goodbot that can stop all the bad bots out there that buy up all the Comic-Con tickets or concert tickets, etc. I have a question, Keys. All right. He says, what games are you looking forward to buy on day one and actually tear up the wrapper and enjoy, my boy? Cause you have enough games still in the wrapper to build a museum. God dang, John. Your dog gonna hit me in the side, brother. But it's true. I can't be mad. He continues to say, please let us know. Drive safe, be safe, peace. I appreciate that, John. Wait. Something else here. He says, P.S. Oh, he says, shh, whisper. He wants me to whisper this. All right, here we go. About to get my Mark Cerny on here. Hold on. He says, here is a code you can give out, and hopefully one of your listeners out there picks it up. It's for Fortnite, 2,000 V-Bucks, and some cosmetics on the Xbox One. Here is the code. The code is WC7H629V6TDWJPZ. One more thing, guys. I want to say this. We want you to take pictures of your ears. Man, shout out to you, John. Man, you are the dude, man. I appreciate that. That was very, very kind of you to give that out to the listeners, man. So for anybody out there that plays Fortnite, type this in. It's on the Xbox One. It's going to give you some doggone V-Bucks and some cosmetics. And you have to thank Mr. John for that. Very, very kind. Now, you did ask me What games am I actually gonna rip out of the wrapper this year? I actually got a kick out of that. That was pretty funny because he ain't lying. I got so many games in here that are still in the wrapper. It's terrible, man. It's horrible. But for me, I would say, John, Cyberpunk 2077, that's a huge one for me. I'm very excited about that. CD Projekt Red, they've done great work on The Witcher 3. You know, I wish Cyberpunk would have been third person, but because of the amazing work from The Witcher 3, I'm willing to give them a chance with this one. Ghost of Tsushima, that's another one that I'm really looking forward to. It looks great, stunning. Graphically looks just absolutely amazing. I would even go with Halo Infinite. We haven't seen any footage of it. I'm a big Halo fan. Didn't play 5, but I love Master Chief. And if it looks great, which I'm really hoping it does, I would pick up Halo Infinite day one, brother. And even if I can't get the Series X right out the box, I know that the Xbox Big Bone that I got, it'll still play it on that. And I would also say The Last of Us Part 2. I'm very excited about that as well. We're going to talk about that. Quite a bit of news. But once again, John, man, this was really a dope email. I appreciate it, man, and thank you again for being so kind to myself and the listeners out there to give out a free code. That was really, really dope, man. Truly, truly appreciate it. And keep on writing in, brother. Keep on writing the emails. I always appreciate it. So shout out to all of you guys for being a part of the feedback section. Like I said, to any listeners out there that would love to be a part of this, you can always do it 2 different ways. Either call in at 443-216-9934 or email the show, and the email is the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. Thank y'all so much, man. Now, as far as the next section, as far as what I've been into, it's going to be real short because quite honestly, I have not played a darn thing. I picked up Final Fantasy VII Remake from Best Buy, got it home, and man, God dog, John got me too, man. Just like he said, that Joker is still in the wrapper. I didn't get a chance to play it, man, but I'm definitely going to open it up, get into it. But outside of that, I haven't been able to go back to Batman, Arkham. I wasn't even Arkham, the Origins, Batman Origins or I got so many games to catch up on, man. It seems like an impossible task, brother, but I'm going to keep on trying. But outside of that, I ain't been into nothing. So without further ado, with that being said, brothers and sisters, let's go ahead and get into what we all come here for. And that is the gaming news. That went down. We got a lot of news to go over, brothers. So let's go ahead and get started. So it is official. Both Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us Part 2 have release dates. Now, The Last of Us Part 2 will release on June 19th, and Ghost of Tsushima has been pushed from June 26th to July 17th. Now, this makes sense because I'm sure Sony wants these 2 titles to get their own time in the sun. But for The Last of Us fans, this is going to be extra hard because we all know, as it stands, the entire game has been leaked online. So basically, and this will mean that fans are going to have to tread carefully for the next month and a half to avoid major spoilers. Now, of course, 2 games of this magnitude can't go unnoticed by the head of Sony's worldwide studios. So Herman Holst chimed in and said this in a PlayStation blog, and I quote, "I want to personally congratulate and thank both the teams at Naughty Dog and Sucker Punch Productions on their achievements. We know it's not an easy feat to reach the finish line under these circumstances. Both teams have worked hard to deliver world-class experiences, and we can't wait to see what you think of them when they release in just a few short months." End of quote. Now, some more information about The Last of Us also came out, where they were saying that the game is going to have 2 discs and it's going to be up to 100 gigabytes It's going to be 100 gigabytes Man, what am I saying? It's going to take up 100 gigabytes of your hard drive. Man, I just had a brain fart, man. Yeah, 100 gigabytes. So make sure that you clear out your hard drive because you're going to need at least 100 gigs or up to 100 gigs. Now, it was also something very interesting pertaining to The Last of Us that came out earlier this week, well, later into the week, where we had heard for quite some time when these leaks had came out about The Last of Us 2, people were saying we were getting word that it was a disgruntled employee. He was mad about the bonuses. He wasn't getting paid the money. So because of this, and also not to mention crunch, he was upset. But come to find out, according to Sony, they are saying that is not the case. Now, here is the actual quote. They said, SIE has identified the primary individuals responsible for the unauthorized release of The Last of Us 2 assets. They are not affiliated with Naughty Dog or SIE. End of quote. Now, I'm going to say this. I have a couple of, I have my own thoughts about this. Do I believe that a Naughty Dog employee could have done this? Absolutely. Do I believe that a third party that was helping with the game could have done this? Definitely. Now, the way that I fall on the side of the coin is right now, Sony has been getting a lot of backlash. I mean, I'm not going to say like a huge amount, but they've had their troubles. Let's put it that way. They've had their battles that they have been fighting. I mean, it was a report that came out talking about Naughty Dog and their crunch culture, the PlayStation 5. We haven't had a reveal. They've just been stuttering on a few things. Now, as far as these leaks, I want to say I am not a fan of somebody leaking the freaking game before it's released and telling everybody about the plot, the story, and the characters. That is ridiculous. I'm never a fan of that. And it's horrible because I'm a gamer. I want to experience it. Some people don't have a problem having it spoiled for them, and they want to act like, man, it's not a big deal. It is a big freaking deal. I don't want to know anything. So that sucks. And of course, I know you guys saw the question when you clicked on the podcast. We're going to go over that a little later. But getting back to them talking about this guy or as they said, these, I want to get the quote right, primary individuals, meaning that it was more than one. Getting back to that subject, this could be damage control, man. Look, PR is there for a reason. Sony has been having a lot of missteps going into this next generation. And how bad would it look for Naughty Dog that if this was a disgruntled employee? You already have people out there talking about they wanted to boycott the game because of crunch. I'm like, you're out of your freaking mind, man. I want The Last of Us 2. Look, I'm in crunch. I'm a truck driver. I'm gone a lot. I understand that somebody was saying that the crunch in the video game industry is totally different from any other crunch in any other job. I get it, man, but we crunch. That's what we do. You know what you're signing up for. Does that make it right? No, but you have an understanding of what will be expected of you. And because of that, I'm not going to boycott any freaking game that's coming out because of crunch. Now, if they beating people up and not paying them, that's a totally different thing. Keeping people there against their will. Like literally like keeping them hostage. That's a totally different conversation. But for Sony, it would be in their best interest to say that these people were not associated with the company, even if they were, because they can't afford the backlash that is coming to them from this situation. So PR, they got to do their job and come up with a statement and let people know, no. That didn't happen in-house. They were on the outskirts. Look, listen, I ain't gonna harp on it too long. It's not much more to say. I'm sure Jason Schreier out there with his reporting self, he'll be able to get something on this and we'll finally figure out what the heck happened. But The Last of Us 2 sucks, man, that the story was leaked. And thank goodness I have been avoiding spoilers at every turn that I make online, god dog it. Let's go ahead and move on though to the next story. Now, With this next story, I want to preference this by saying I have not been a fan of wrestling games since WWF Arcade and the N64 days when I believe Ukes, was that their name? Ukes was behind them. But I gotta say, now we all knew 2K was going to talk about the future of their wrestling franchise. Now, outside of them recruiting a new executive producer named Patrick Gilmore, who has a 25-year history in the gaming industry, I believe going back to the Genesis, matter of fact. They actually announced a new game called WWE 2K Battlegrounds, which is an over-the-top arcade-style action game that will focus on pick up and play fun. Now, even though the trailer is like 26 seconds long, it automatically reminded me of one of my favorite non-simulation wrestling games, Def Jam Fight for New York. Now, the game will release sometime during the fall. When I saw this trailer, god dang, brothers, I think it was The Rock and John Cena. They were fighting each other, and The Rock, he kicked them or he drop kicked them or something so hard that John Cena, his character, was coming out of the ropes, and it was a crocodile on the other side ready to chomp him up. Oh my goodness, I said, this might be something I might have to invest in. Am I a wrestling fan? No, not at all. Like I said, Def Jam was my joint, man. Playing that, doing the super moves, playing as some of my favorite rappers. God dang, the game was amazing. I don't know what the heck they were thinking about with that Def Jam icons or whatever that came out on the 360. Oh, no. Don't go back and judge the franchise off of that, because I don't know what the world they were on during that time. I have no clue. But this wrestling game, y'all just go and check out the trailer. Just type it in, man. Just type it in WWE 2K Battlegrounds. It looks like it could be a ton of fun. And it's not taking itself seriously. Like I said, anytime you got a good old crocodile waiting on the other side of the ring to chomp you up, you know what time it is. These non-simulations are some of my favorites. And maybe WWE 2K, maybe they're going in a similar direction like Forza. We know that Forza, they come out with the Horizon series one year, which is the non-simulated, and then another year they'll come out with the simulated Forza. Maybe this is the new format that they're going for to try to pick up more players along the way, because not everybody is into the simulation. I am not into any kind of simulation. I play games for fun. That's it. So if this is a pick up and play kind of game, you can get together with your friends and just do over the top, just crazy non-human stuff. Oh man, sign me the heck up. I'm looking forward to seeing how well this game does. It's great that they aren't canceling WWE 2K, because I thought that was going to be the case, but it looks like they're just going to start reworking some things. I believe, and don't quote me on this, they also said, I'm saying I believe a lot. God damn, believe I can fly, mother lover. But they also said that they're not going to come out with another game because they know that they failed the fans of the original. They want to take the time out, make the bugs go away, make them go away. I could have said that in a better way, but they just want to do their best. They want to rework the game, bring out a better product. It's going to take them a while to get all of the bugs and the fixes done, but they're just committing themselves to getting that game right before they move on to another simulated WWE 2K game. I think that's great news. But let's go ahead and move into the next story. Now, we know that during this pandemic, one industry has continued to not just thrive, but soar above everyone else, and that is no doubt gaming. I'm so proud to be a part of this. Now, with people having to stay at home, it's a no-brainer. But after hearing all of these reports of Nintendo Switch selling out, PlayStation 4 Pros doing well, and even Xbox One X actually selling out at one time on the Microsoft Store, when it was on sale for $299. Now, I wanted to get some numbers to back these so-called claims. So I went over to Business Insider, and they are reporting that between video game hardware, software, accessories, and game card sales, the gaming industry made, strap on your seatbelt, brother, they made $1.6 billion in the month of March. And to put this in perspective, according to the NPD Group's monthly report, it was the best March the gaming industry has seen in over 10 years. Absolutely phenomenal. I'm always worried about the numbers. People always say, why are you worried about the money? Why are you worried about their numbers? The reason why is because I want to just not make sure. I mean, I'm doing my part about the consoles, the games or whatever, but I just don't want to see the industry go away. We've lost so many third parties in the gaming industry. I mean, countless amounts of casualties when it comes to studios. So we know that gaming is a cutthroat business. It truly is. And it's my favorite hobby. And because of that, I always hope that the industry is doing well, that it's thriving, and it continues to grow. So with 1.6 billion being made in March and being the biggest March in over 10 years, that screams to the mountaintops, man. That's absolutely amazing. Now let's go ahead and get into the next story, and let's talk about Cyberpunk 2077. Now, we are all aware that it's no doubt Cyberpunk will be M-rated. But due to a Brazil rating, the game actually, we got a slew of information on what we can expect to be in the game. So some of it we knew about, and other stuff, well, I'll speak for myself, I didn't know. So here is the list. Now, it's going to be weapon without violence, moderate or hinted use of illicit drugs, weapons with violence. It's going to have criminal act without violence, which means basically you'll be able to pickpocket people and, just do things that are crimes, but you ain't got to kill nobody. Now, it's also a description of costume of illicit drugs, derogatory language, verbal aggression, violent acts, sexual pleasurement. Oh, buddy. Consumption of illicit drugs, violence description, exposure to danger, exposure to death corpse, which means you'll be moving dead bodies around. It's god darn. Body injury, foul language, blood, description of illicit drugs, because they're going to be telling you if you're doing heroin. I guess they're going to say heroin. Probably in the future, they probably don't even call it that. Probably call it something else. Probably like, I don't know, H2 or something. I don't know. It's going to be sexual relationships, consumption of illicit drugs, mutilation, intense sexual relationships, suicide, and cruelty. God dang. I mean, this is a Monty right here. This is a Monty, a bounty of information. My goodness. Hey, keep that man CD Projekt Red. Y'all keep messing around. Y'all gonna get an A. Y'all gonna get an A for adult only. God darn. As I was reading this list, right, when I was writing this, I kept on seeing one thing constantly showing up is drug use. Good gosh, just induce that and sexual acts, man. One of them, the intense sexual relationship, they were talking, I think I even looked that up, man. I might have my definition wrong, but basically it was saying that, just obsessing over a person, not wanting to let them go at any cost. I mean, it's where you love the person so much, y'all have such a deep bond, and you just don't want to see anything happen to that person. I mean, who knows? One of the characters, I guess the main character is V. Who knows? I mean, you get in a relationship with somebody. We know how deep plots go with CD Projekt Red if we're basing them off of The Witcher 3. Those side quests are like, God dog, like nothing I've ever seen in a game before. So they know how to go deep into the character progression and different relationships and these outcomes. So it made me wonder, with that, having a relationship with a person and you're obsessed with them, what if they turned their back on you? What if they said, this is over? I'm tired of it. How would that affect your character? Or if you told the person that you're done with them, what would happen? Would they turn their back on you, try to shoot you? I mean, my mind just goes 100 different places, but the long and short, I'll say the short of this is, god dang, man, make sure your kid is nowhere near you when you are playing Cyberpunk 2077. They said that this game was going to definitely have some themes in it, some adult themes, and man, hey, listen, hey, CD Projekt Red, brother, I applaud this, man. I applaud it. Now, one thing I do want to say, though, the one thing that was a little, even for me, and I really don't give a darn, I don't care, but one thing that made me say, yeesh, about the description was sexual exploitation. Now, I looked that up, and this had to do with kids, man, actually having kids do sexual acts for money, for food, for favors. And I'm like, kids? God dang, CD Projekt, good gosh. I mean, they are really pushing the envelope on this one. Hey, listen, man, my theory, ain't even no theory, my thought is, look, if you can do it in movies, you should be able to do it in video games. We are to the point where gaming is not just for kids. Adults are the ones that keep the industry going. I understand you want to get little Timmy, some games and all of that stuff. Some games Timmy playing, he shouldn't even be playing though. But I applaud CD Projekt Red for really pushing the envelope on this. I think this is what gaming needs. I think they need to take the rings off of gaming and let gaming do the same things that movies do without any backlash. Man, hey, listen, my hat goes off to you, CD Projekt Red. Man, can't wait for this one. Now let's go ahead. Actually, sticking with CD Projekt Red. The budget. That's why I wrote this down. The budget for this game. Guess how much the budget of CD Projekt's Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be? Oh man, I hope I don't start messing up my speech. But it's said that it's going to cost them around $82 million to do this. Now, I only bring this up because god dag on Microsoft, they decided to spend $50 million on Ninja for a service that still hasn't popped. They could have added another 30 mil to that, put that to a game. Heck, you give that money to Ninja Theory, I'm sure they would have used that 50 million and made a quadruple A game with it. Anytime they could do what they did with Hellblade for 10 million, 50 million, man. Microsoft, look, I'm hoping y'all get it together. Y'all definitely on track to get it together. But god dog, a game like Cyberpunk costs $82 million. Jeez. Let's go ahead and move on though. So, we got some more. Man, that was a bit of a dark section. God dog. But let's go ahead. Let's try to brighten it up here. Yeesh. We got some Final Fantasy VII Remake news. Now, it's this Japanese Final Fantasy VII Ultimania book that has been translated by a Twitter user. Man, I'm gonna butcher this brother's name. Ataki Machi. You spell it Ataikimochi. Atakamachi. I think it is. Man, I probably messed it up. But he talks about the next part of the game could be smaller than the Midgar section to aid development times. Now, the game's director, Tetsuya Nomura, had this to say, and I quote, "If we divide the story into large parts, it'll take longer to make. If we divide it into more detailed, smaller sections, then developing it will be faster. I hope to release the next one ASAP." To further add to this, producer Yoshinori said, and I quote, "We have a general idea of how the story will play out, but we haven't decided exactly how many parts, nor can we confirm anything. But we're just doing things one step at a time. End of quote. Now, it's been, no, I'm sorry, I left one part out. He said there's been speculation that it will be 3 parts, but we're just doing things one step at a time. So, I mean, would you guys be okay with that? It's always, well, not always, but lately, since Final Fantasy Remake has been released, people have been wondering how long, even myself included, will they take to make a new one. Now, you as a gamer out there, would you be okay with them making the game smaller than the one that we got, the first part of this Final Fantasy VII Remake? Or would you rather them take the time out, make part 2 just as big, maybe possibly even expand on it and make it a little bigger, you know, and release that as a result? Would you be upset, I guess, is what I'm asking, if the parts were smaller? I mean, they said that it clocked in around at 40 hours. So let's say for them to save time, get it out there, would you be happy with them cutting it down to 20 hours? I mean, it's still longer than the average game, but it is an RPG. I don't know how people would feel about that. Let me know. But let's go ahead and move on into the next story. What did I write here? Oh, Moon Studios. Oh, yeah. This was nothing, though. They were just talking about, according to their founder, Moon Studios founder, Thomas Mahler, he said in an interview with GameSpot, and I quote, our next game is about humans. I don't even know why I even wrote that down. He gave no other information. He was just saying that the next title that they're working on is going to have humans. So I guess Ori is going to take a bit of a back seat, which is cool. That's fine. You left us on a banger. You know, I mean, it's great, you know, so they want to go ahead out there, experience, you know, have their experience, you know, just kind of go past what Ori is and start working on a human story, which will be interesting. I'll be there day one. Let's go ahead and move into the next situation at hand. So for the first time in quite some time, Xbox has hit a pretty big milestone. So during an investor's call, it was confirmed that Game Pass officially has 10 million subscribers, and Xbox Live active users has jumped to almost 90 million. Now, you guys know that I love competition with these companies when they compete for our dollars. So I think it's only right to look at the numbers at other gaming services. Now, EA Access, last year, they hit over 5 million subs, which is pretty good. NVIDIA's GeForce Now service since launch has reached 1 million users, and Apple and Google, they haven't disclosed their numbers yet. And as of October, PlayStation Now, which is 5 years later, has 1 million subs. So that means now that's very interesting. God dang. These jokers are, I mean, they got numbers, but PlayStation 5, 1 million. God darn. We gotta talk about this. Hold on. How do you have a user base of over 100 million and you only have 1 million subs? What's that, like 1%? I mean, God dog. That is unreal. Sony. I mean, y'all got to do a better job. I know they dropped the price down. The price was very, very high. At one point, they did adjust that, but sheesh. You got to do better than that, man. I mean, golly. Microsoft, for the first time, like I said, they talked about this number, 10 million. That's pretty big, man. I think Game Pass is 2 years old, maybe 3. Let's just stick with 2 years old, and they've reached this kind of milestone. That's pretty amazing. Now, what I wanted to do though is let's just see what this could add up to. Now, if Microsoft can retain, they have to keep these guys because we know that they were giving out free trials. Some people, if they had Xbox Live Gold for like 2 years, they threw in Game Pass for $1. So, I mean, it's a lot of factors that can go into whether people stay or they leave. But let's just go off of this 10 million that they have right now. So if they can retain those 10 million subs, they will make $100 million a month at $10. Now, if they can get these people to upgrade to the Xbox Live Ultimate, which is $15 a month, they would be bringing in $150 million a month. And on an annual scale, yearly, that is $1.8 billion. It is not hard to see with those numbers. And this is 10 million subs right now. We're not talking about 20, 30, 40, 50. We are sticking with 10 million. Worst case scenario, if they can keep those people in there, that 10 million, they're making 100 million a month. Good gosh. That is the budget of Cyberpunk 2077 made in a month. Microsoft, making over almost $2 billion annually off of this service. It is not what I was going to say I kind of cut myself off. It ain't hard to see why Phil is like, man, frick it. We don't care about, the cost. We going to stay, we care about the services, giving the people the services. We're in it for the long haul. It makes sense. They can afford to lose money on the console at these numbers. Granted, no company wants to lose money, but we're talking 10 million here. You're making over 100 billion a year off of this service. Off of 10 million. You get 20. I guess that's what? 2 billion? 30 million? 3 billion? 4. It just keeps going. So for Microsoft, man, this is the thing. God darn. They better not come out here with no AA games. Y'all got the bank right now. The possible, God dog, that much of a budget. Y'all should be giving us triple A's every goddamn year. It should never be a time where we're sitting there saying, where the heck is the AAA games, Microsoft? With numbers like that, good gosh. That is outrageous. I've lost my total train of thought on this. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I was going somewhere else with it, but I'm gonna just hop off this train right now while I'm still slightly ahead. So let's go ahead, man, and let's move into the next story. Now, some more huge news came out. Now, this was totally unexpected. Ubisoft has officially unveiled Assassins Creed Valhalla. I always say it wrong. Is it Valhalla? I don't know. But the game is being developed by 13 different Ubisoft development teams, as well as Spearsoft. They threw the kitchen sink in a whole house at this project. Now, the main character's name is, I'm going to say it wrong, but I think it's Eivor, who you can pick to be male or female, and you will also have the ability to dual wield weapons to face off against a, quote, greater variety of enemies than ever before, end of quote. Now, Ubisoft also explained in a press release, and I quote, as the Vikings begin to settle in their new home, they encounter resistance from the Saxons, including King Alfred of Wessex, who denounces them as heathens and looks to be the sole ruler of a civilized England. Against all odds, ever must do what is necessary to keep Valhalla within reach, end of quote. Now, it will also release, it's going to release this holiday season 2020 for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, PC exclusively through the Epic Game Store. I love the way Epic just punches the mother lover. Just pow! Hit the Valve store all the goddamn time. Not Valve, but the other service. It's skipping my mind, but Valve's behind it. Man, I love that. It's also coming out on Stadia, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X. Oh, and even of course on Uplay Plus. Man, I'm gonna say when I saw this trailer. And y'all know, man, I am not with the trailers, man. I'm a firm believer that, look, man, gameplay, that's what we need. Forget the trailer. I want to know what's going on with the gameplay. I will say, though, as I was looking at that trailer, it didn't seem... I'm thinking about next generation here, y'all. So, look, I might be delusional, but it didn't seem like the trailer was so far off of what possibly gameplay could look like. It looks great. The guy, when he was fighting that big dude, and he stabbed him in the thigh, and the Joker fell, and then he stabbed him in the face. God dang, man, it's brutal. This thing seems like it's going to be almost something like, I guess, like Braveheart. They were trying to get their freedom, and, the king was trying to stop them, didn't want them to get it, wanted to take their land, take their women and children. It seems like it's going to be that kind of power struggle when you're talking about, having to settle and having to fight for the land that you get. I think it's going to be great. I love this change that Assassin's Creed has made. Going through all of these different time periods and, having stuff be actually loosely based on things that really happened. I'm not necessarily talking about Valhalla, but just things in the past, the past Assassin's Creed. So it's great to see this change. Very, very much so looking forward to how well this game does, and it should be great. It should at least be something worth looking at. But I wanted to also just say really quickly, just talking about the Epic Game Store, shout out to them, man. You mean to tell me Steam, as many years as Steam has been in the game, being the PC guys' go-to place to get their games from, you mean to tell me Steam doesn't have the decency, the darn gumption to go out there and let y'all know, hey, you are important to us. We're going to start getting some of these same deals that the Epic Game Store is getting and get some exclusives over here on our platform. But no, they don't do that. They don't. Man, I'm telling you, Epic, keep it up, man. Keep your hand around there. Man, look, just keep them suppressed as much as you can, because hopefully eventually, if the Steam crowd gets mad enough, maybe they'll start doing some things for y'all. God dang. Let's go ahead and move on. Now we got another bombshell this week. Oh, this was huge. God darn. Xbox, they sent a tweet out that said, and I quote, "You want to see games for the Xbox Series X? You want to show..." No. I messed that up. Let me start this over. I got to give this the proper respect. Now, they said in a tweet, once again, "You want to see games for the Xbox Series X? We want to show you games for the Xbox Series X. Check out first look next gen gameplay from our global developers partners within hashtag Inside Xbox on Thursday, May 7th at 8 a.m. Pacific time." Man, I couldn't believe it. God dog, hold on. Y'all gotta pardon me. Hold on, brother. I'm parched. I gotta take a drink. Hold on. Man, God dog, my throat is hurting, man. But let me tell you something. This totally came out of left field. Once again, this Microsoft, this so aggressive, this out there just doing it. Ever since December, these guys have been on a tear. They have been on a mission to let gamers know, look, we know we messed up. We know we dropped the ball last generation. We're coming out this generation stronger, better, and harder than we had before. And Phil, once again, I tell y'all, man, my opinion of Phil, he's spotty as a Dalmatian, brother. But I will say, Phil said they were going to be aggressive. They were really gonna let people know that they were in it to win it. And I gotta say, man, Phil, man, my hat goes off to you, brother. This is fantastic. And for the people out there that want to downplay this, this really got my goat. This pissed me off. When I didn't even read the article. I just read the title. Basically, the guy was saying that Xbox Series X will be showing off PlayStation 5 games. I'm like, man, get the heck out of here, man. Yeah, of course. Okay. It's third party. We understand that. But Sony, they have done nothing. Nothing. They showed you a controller. That was it. They showed you a logo. That was it. And these people want to downplay it like Microsoft ain't doing nothing. What is Sony doing? If we were sitting here waiting today for Sony, we wouldn't have anything that was happening next week, because the 7th is coming up in 4 days from now. We're gonna see what the next generation of gaming is going to look like. Don't downplay it. Just, man, give Microsoft a break. I'm the first one to say, man, they really, really rubbed me the wrong way this generation. Very, very disappointed overall at what Microsoft was able to do this generation. But dag, man, give them a break. They have done nothing wrong all the way up to this point, leading up to next generation. And Sony, they have been the ones in the shadows, lacking information. We haven't even seen the console yet. For people that want to say, man, it's not coming out until November or December or October, I don't give a darn. That says it doesn't matter, to see the console and stuff. You're going to get it eventually. No, it does matter. It does. You have to build up hype. Now, granted, Sony has done an amazing job this generation. I take nothing away from them. They were clearly 10 times better than Microsoft this generation with their single AAA brand new experiences, as well as some other ones that we had seen on previous consoles. But they have not been as aggressive this generation. They started out last generation back in February, letting us know what the template was gonna be. And this generation coming up, they have not been nearly as aggressive. Once again, like I've said before, it's definitely a changing of the guard. Not all of the old people that made the PlayStation 4 as great as it is are there anymore. So you have different personalities, people with different beliefs, as far as what they should show with the console. They're not there. So stop downplaying what Sony is not doing. Making it seem like, oh man, it's no big deal. It's okay. No, man. Get out there. Show us why we should have your platform and let us decide. Microsoft, we've all said they need to do better. They need to show better. They need to be out there fighting Sony. They need to be more aggressive. They're giving us all of that right now. But yet people want to say, they just showing off PlayStation 5 games. Man, come on, man. Look, I salute Microsoft. I'm pumped up about this. I'm hoping that we see Assassins Creed Valhalla there, as well as, we're not going to get any first party titles, so no Halos, no possible Fables or whatever Ninja Theory is working on, as far as Senua's Sacrifice. But I just give them my hat, man. God darn, man. Stop downplaying what Microsoft is doing. Is just such a run-of-the-mill bad thing. They're doing amazing things out here, man. God dang. Man, can't you congratulate them? Stop hating and start congratulating. God darn. Let's go ahead and move on, man. Are we almost done here? Oh, we almost done. Ah, darn, man. No, we ain't nowhere near done. Shucks. All right, let's see what else we got here. Okay, so earlier this week, we got some potentially very bad news about Nintendo. So now I do want to, man, this is bad. I do want to preference this next story by saying that it is a rumor, so take it with a mustard seed of truth. But according to a leaker named Zippo, who actually reported about Nintendo having a Nintendo Direct strictly dedicated to Animal Crossing, which actually turned out to be true. This gives this guy a little bit of credibility. Well, now he is claiming that Nintendo will not be hosting a Nintendo Direct in June. And the reason why he is saying this is because Nintendo was, quote, woefully unprepared, end of quote, for work from home arrangements during the ongoing coronavirus outbreak. And given the circumstances, it is very hard for the company to prepare for the presentation now. So Zippo is also saying that many third-party and indie devs are, quote, also behind schedule due to COVID-19, and he is expecting Nintendo to make an announcement about them not doing the Direct next week, which is tomorrow. So, I mean, dang, man. Good grief, we've been here for an hour and 9 minutes. This is going to be a long episode right here. But, man, this is very, very sad if this happens to be true, because last year, the Nintendo Direct, the E3 Nintendo Direct that they had, that was the best show of E3. They knocked it out of the park. I thought they won E3 last year. Microsoft, oh man, god darn, don't get me started with them last year in their E3 presentation. But I thought Nintendo was absolutely amazing. So I was really looking forward to seeing what they were going to do with their Direct. I know it's not E3, but they're E3 Direct-esque kind of presentation. But we'll see if this is true or not. We'll see what Nintendo says. But let's go ahead and move into a quick story. Now, Destroy All Humans remake will be releasing July 28th for PC, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4. And one new feature that they are adding to the remake is a focus mode, which allows Crypto 137 to lock onto other enemies for more mayhem, which will be great. I've never played this game before, Destroy All Humans, but it looks good. It really looks good, man. I think that I'm going to give this one a shot. But anyway, with that being said, let's go ahead and move on, man. I just belched in y'all ear. Pardon me. Now, so for quite some time, we have been hearing that Sony would have an event to show off the PlayStation 5. I was just giving them a hard time because they deserve it. It's PlayStation 5 and its games. Well, it appears that we may have a timeline for Sony's PlayStation 5 plans, because in the latest OPM that you can see right now digitally, I believe that stands for Official PlayStation Magazine, they are claiming that they will, and I quote, reveal the latest games coming to PlayStation 5 and how they'll play, end of quote. Now, in the July issue. Now, physical copies of the July issue go on sale June 2nd, but digital copies will be available a few days earlier, which could possibly point to a May event. And if you want to cross-reference the source, go over to Twitter and type in Tidux, which is spelled Tidux. And at the moment, this is a rumor. So take this info with a mustard seed of truth. But I have to say this as well. I mean, we got some more information on this. It's a GamesBeat reporter named Jeffrey Grubb that says it will happen, this event, June 5th. And he said this over on the PlayStation 5 Reset Era page. So we have totally different stories. Somebody saying May, somebody else is saying June. I would say that I would believe June would probably be the more, I would say that would probably be where they would probably do it at, because right now Microsoft, they have next week coming up. They're going to be showing off some things. They're keeping their Steam train rolling. And PlayStation, next month was supposed to be next month, god dog, was supposed to be E3, but since it got canceled, I'm sure they were probably targeting this anyway. But we'll see, man. It's all hearsay. Nobody knows for sure. But, in the next coming days and weeks, we'll definitely find out if this timeline with them OPM is correct, and we may see it in May, or if this guy Jeffrey, who's reporting this over on Reset Era, is saying that it'll happen on June 5th. So stay tuned. Now, this next story, Phil Spencer had another announcement this week via Xbox blog where he said, quote, later this year, our cloud game streaming technology, Project xCloud, will come to Game Pass so you and your friends can stream and play the games you love together on your devices. End of quote. This is excellent news. We were wondering, will they include this? Is this going to be included in Xbox Ultimate, Xbox Live Ultimate, or is it going to be an extension of Game Pass, or will we have to pay for it separately? So the way this is worded, it seems like it's coming to Game Pass, which is, darn, that's pretty cool, man, to be able to take your games on the go and play. I think that Microsoft, they may, for the first time, now that I'm thinking about it, xCloud, they may be able to crack Japan over there. They may be able to, because we know that they're a more mobile society. And if you can play the games on your phone, golly, imagine how many players they could get over in Japan and everywhere over there. God dog it. I'm going to tell you, I ain't going to lie, I'm a little fatigued right now. But we are at the final story right now, man. We're making it. We almost at the finish line, brothers. Now, let's get into the last story. And I gotta shout out my dude, my guy, Mike J. He actually sent this to me. So I want to thank you, Mike J. And we get ready to get into it right now. So, Geoff Keighley announced E3 2020's replacement, which is called Summer Game Fest, which will take place from May to August. God darn! Wait a minute. May, June, July, 4 months? Oh, shucks. Now, wait a minute. Now, I didn't know that was happening. Did I read that right? Geoff Keighley announced it. Yeah. So this is going to take place for 4 months, and it's going to star a plethora of developers and publishers coming out to this digital event during, including, man, I'm botching this, but let me try to get it together. It's going to include, as far as the developers and publishers, 2K, Activision, Bandai Namco, Bethesda. Bethesda's going to be there. Could we see Starfield? Oh, shoot. Blizzard Entertainment, Bungie, CD Projekt Red, Digital Extremes, EA, Microsoft, Private Division, Riot Games, Sony Interactive Entertainment, Valve, and Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment. Oh, shucks. Oh, man, I was just thinking with Microsoft, I hate to go back for a minute, but man, Microsoft, I was just thinking, could they show the Batman game off? And it's one thing also, I don't want to take away this story, but I do want to just go back just for 1 minute to Microsoft with this unveil of these games that are coming, that are going to be playable on the Series X. How dope would it be if they actually show us the difference between the Xbox One X and the Xbox Series X? I'm talking about like having the HDR, the load times, graphically, the resolution, the frame rate. If they do that, if they can show us why we need the Series X with these third parties, I think that would go so far to have people say, you know what? I see the difference. I get what you're doing. I'm jumping on board. But back to this doggone Summer Game Fest thing. This is interesting. Now, shucks. Listen to this. Oh man. This is exciting. This is exciting because they are saying that, where's it at? The Summer Games Fest organizers said that Steam, Xbox, and other unspecified platforms will offer, quote, playable limited time demonstrations and trials of select game content. Wait a second. Wait a second. Are you telling me that this event that is called, once again, I want to get the name out, god darn. What? I ain't even worried about the name. You mean to tell me that this Summer Game Fest that just came to me, god darn, they're gonna include demos? Oh my gosh, can you imagine if we could get a demo at it? Now here I go. I know I'm going way off on the deep end. I know I'm about to do it. I know. But could you imagine if we got a 30-minute slice of Cyberpunk 2077? What about doggone a new Batman game? Something from EA? Microsoft is gonna be there. I mean, good grief, this is a pretty good list. 2K is gonna be there. Oh my goodness, this is what I have wanted. Goodness gracious. Can you imagine? You're sitting there and they're like, oh yeah, right now, for a limited time, we actually have a demo up of blah blah game. I have hoped for this so long, man. This is amazing. Demos are coming up. Man, for 4 months, this thing already sounds, I'm going to sound so fricked up when I say this, but dag, 4 months, that's a lot longer than E3, man. God dag. Anyway, that is the end. And they got demos, but that is the end of the gaming news this week. I am tired. Good gosh, man. Hold on. Let me take a sip and wipe my brow, brothers. God darn. Oh, man. Man, that was a long-winded day, brothers. Ooh, that was a long show, man. But let's go ahead, man, and let's get into the final section of the podcast where I ask you, the great, cool, awesome listener that you are, a question. And my question to you guys, and I know you saw it, and I tip my hat off to you. I appreciate you being here through this craziness of the show. But will The Last of Us 2 spoilers affect game sales? I want to know. A lot of people are dropping it. They're saying it was spoiled for me. I'm going to tell you, if the game was actually spoiled for me, would I pick it up? I don't think I would pick it up on day one. I think I would try to give myself as much time as possible to try and forget about the plot and the different characters or whatever happened. Would it work? I doubt it, because I remember Gears of War 3 was spoiled for me. We all know what happened in that game. And I was like, dag, man, you ain't had to tell me that bull crap, man. You just ruined it for me. But I'm going to tell you, when the situation actually happened that he had told me about, it still hit me though. I mean, just seeing how it all played out. You know, I was like, dag, I was still bad, but it would have been even more impactful if I didn't know. So I can definitely understand why some people are not going to, partake in The Last of Us 2 when it releases. So that's my question to you guys. Will The Last of Us 2 spoilers affect game sales? If you want to be a part of this section of the podcast, you can do it two different ways. Call in at 443-216-9934 and let your voice be heard, or you can email the show, and the email address is theanalogcirclepodcast@gmail.com. I was your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and this has been great. I have had a ball with you guys, but don't worry, because we're going to have a ball again when we do it again next week. But until then, always remember, it is not about the consoles. It is about the game. So just like I said, until next week when we do it again, you guys take care. Be safe out there. Bye-bye.
Say what you need.